Welcome to Gamers Platform. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adam Wolf from Gamers Platform, and today I've got a nice little update video for you for Fortnite, and I'm actually really excited about this one because they have finally introduced a brand new game mode called Teams of 20. I know, it's not a really great name, but they talked about this a little while ago, and I found it to be quite enticing. And I gotta say, it's a whole lot of fun. It's so much better than just having a squad of 4 people, because you can count on more than 3 people to, I don't know, piggyback up when you go down or whatever. So definitely a limited time, unfortunately, that this game mode is going to be around, but you know, it's fun while it lasts, I guess. But obviously that's not the only thing I'm going to be going over. This is update 3.2. I think I'm under the impression that they bring out an update every week now, so you can at least expect 2 videos for Fortnite every week. Why 2? Because I do the Save the World updates as well. This update list is actually primarily mostly bug fixes, so you know, it'll go pretty quickly, but you know, that's fine. That's fine. We don't need a really long video. But most of the footage you're seeing in this video is me playing the Teams of 20 game mode, and I've won twice. Okay, so it's definitely a lot less stressful than solo or duos or even squads. But there is definitely a much higher chance of failing just because, well, you know how people like going into cities, and I've had multiple games in a row where the majority of my team went into one of the major cities, Tilted Towers, Salty Springs, or whatever, and they just all died. And it's not great. Not great. Because you have, the way it works, okay, is that, and this is actually in the notes, so it's good that I'm starting to talk about this. I'll go to the patch notes in a second. But the way it works is that you got essentially 5 teams of 20. Okay, you have your own team, and then you got 4 other teams you have to take down. And you have a counter up in the top right corner under the mini-map showing you how many people are left in your team and how many people are left total in the game. But the problem, what am I trying to say here? So when you look up after, like, I don't know, parachuting in, gathering up all your stuff, maybe a couple minutes, you look up and you got 3 people left. It's like, what did you guys do? And so people love going into these cities and just dying for no reason. That's exactly how my first game went. I landed on top of a building, no guns, broke through the roof and got lit up. And I was just like, never doing that again. And so the next couple of games after that, I just went out into the middle of nowhere, and I actually lived longer. And the second game after that, I succeeded. We won after I rejoined the majority of my team. So there's no way of actually knowing how many people are left, I guess. Well, I guess if you open the map, it actually does show you the numbers of each team. So I guess there is a way of knowing how many teams, you know, how many people are left on each team. But, you know, I mean, it's not really necessary to know which teams are which, because you're just fighting everybody that isn't on your team, so it doesn't matter. But we're going to go over that while we go down this list. So that's the first thing on the list. Limited time mode, Teams of 20. And so, again, essentially this is supposed to be 5 teams of 20. But every game I played, we only had about 80 people, so we only ended up having 4 teams. So I'm not sure if that's a bug or if the time for people to join a match is too short, because once I joined a match, it was like 15 seconds before the bus launched, and it would always end up at 80. So I was under the impression that it was going to be 5 teams of 20, you know, for 100 people, but there was never enough people actually being brought into the room to have 5 teams. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they need to adjust something, but That never happened. It was always 4 teams of 20, and they were intense. They were intense. Now, I'm also going to be doing a review, basically, in the middle of this patch note thing. A couple of grievances that I have here. If you do go in with your team into a city, the likelihood of you getting a weapon is a lot less than if you were to play in something like duos or squads. Okay, I think they've increased the amount of things on the map. They even listed out in the separate bullet points here. They've increased the chances of treasure chest spawning, which I've run into plenty while I was out there. Increased chances of ammo boxes spawning. But the problem is that if you land in with your team, you don't get to see any of that if you're too slow. When I went out into the middle of nowhere by myself, I got plenty of loot or a treasure chest. I had plenty of that, plenty of ammo boxes, because I went away from where everybody was. So, because now you're not just competing other teams for loot, you're competing with your own team for loot. And unless you're on comms, which you're only actually able to talk to your squad, because even though you have a team of 20, you're still separated into 5 squads of 4. And you're only able to just communicate with your squad. If you're trying to get to a loot chest or a treasure chest, that's a bad habit, calling a loot chest. Treasure chest alongside somebody who's not in your squad, then it comes down to who gets to it first. So now you're just competing with your own team, and I see that as a bit of an issue, just a little bit of an issue. Secondly, the amount of, I haven't come across any, but I know some people have. I haven't come across very many gold weapons. I'd find a loot. I did it again. I find a treasure chest, and I'm thinking, something good's going to pop out. But most of the time, it goes up maybe up to a blue half the time, depending on where you drop. And, you could have an entire place to yourself, but that treasure chest is probably not going to contain a purple. Blue is not bad, but it also depends on what it is. Is it an assault rifle or is it an SMG? And I've gotten my fair share of SMGs out of those treasure chests, but especially when I needed an assault rifle. So there are a few issues with this game mode, that being the biggest one. There's plenty of resources to go around, but there's not enough. If you drop with your team, there's never enough loot, because now you're competing with your own teammates for loot. And then when you're separating yourself from your team, now you're just not even being a team player. So there's negatives on both ends here. On one hand, you drop in with your teammates, you got people around you who could, do some damage and also pick you up if you get put down. But you have no way of getting weapons or health or shields or anything. And then on the other hand, you go off on your own, you get all this stuff, but now your team's all dead. And there was one game where I was the last one on my team alive. And I was just running around trying to be stealthy-ish. But I was like, I'm the only one left. You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go and start shooting people. And so it didn't turn out well for me, obviously. But the bottom line is that there's a couple of there's negative sides to both ends here. And while it is fun, okay, it's awesome having such a big team, there's also some discrepancies. Oh, just remembered, one other discrepancy I have is that while you can get yourself a lot of loot, you're shooting at buildings most of the time. So very rarely are you catching anybody off guard. And even when you do, if they're quick to build stuff, you're basically going to lose the firefight anyway. But when you get into a massive group-on-group firefight, like I did a couple of times, you're just shooting, just trying to get rid of the buildings. And I never had enough ammo. I mean, I was always running low on ammo, and I was forced to go in with like my shotgun or any kind of close-range weapon that I may have had. So I'd be trying to shoot somebody with my assault rifle from a distance, so it'd be, I'd have a better chance of surviving. But I'd keep running so low on ammo, I'm like, screw it, might as well just run in, because all I have is a shotgun. you know, as a secondary. So it's a bit frantic. It's a bit frantic, especially, you know. But if you're like on one side of your group that's shooting down the buildings and stuff, a large chunk of people tend to know when they should flank, and sometimes it actually works out in your favor. Like, they're so busy trying to build because we're shooting down all their stuff, the rest of our teammates go around and flank them, and we end up with the win. But it's just a shooting gallery at that point. All you're doing is shooting buildings. And I see that as a bit of a not a good thing for the game, you know, because it's hard enough when you're going up against somebody who's really good with building in solos, but now you've got a bunch of people that are really good at building, and that's all you're shooting is just buildings. You're shooting walls, you're shooting ramps, everything and anything. You know, eventually they run out of material, but, you know, you see these giant structures and you're like, crap, where the hell are they? And how am I going to get rid of this thing? And so, yeah, you better hope that you have an explosive. So that's the new game mode. That's my thoughts on the new game mode. I think it's a lot of fun. You should definitely play. I'm probably going to play more of it because, I don't know, I played the crap out of the co-op last night. But this definitely seems more of my speed when it comes to the Battle Royale game mode. I don't mind solos. I don't mind duos. I'm not a fan of squads. You know, and I'm not really keen on playing Battle Royale with any of these game modes. But for some reason, Teams of 20 has caught my interest, and I really enjoy a bigger battle. I don't know, maybe it's just my thing. I just enjoy bigger battles because then I can rely on more people to either do great or do poorly, you know, depending on their skill level. I'm certainly more on the poorly side. But I'm getting better at building, so, you know, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so limited time mode, Teams of 20. Try it out. A lot of fun. I think you'll have a lot of fun. It'll help you improve your skills at least a little bit. Next bullet point, players will get elimination credit for forced fall damage either through impulse grenades or destroying structures underneath their enemies. So that's in the Teams of 20 mode. This is still under the Teams of 20. This is the first set of bullet points in gameplay, by the way. This is obviously gonna be edited in, but this is all under gameplay so far. Riding a rocket no longer cancels emotes or using consumables. I just think it's funny that you can ride a rocket. I mean, once people figured that out, it was just YouTube after YouTube video. And lobby emotes will now play out instead of just ending in 5 seconds. Bug fixes for gameplay. Fixed an issue where players at 60 FPS could not jump as high as those at playing at 30. Really? That's weird. That's really weird. I actually just dropped the frame rate back down to 30 so I could max the graphics. And first of all, I'm not playing with a controller. I'm playing with keyboard and mouse, and it still works just fine. But I never noticed that I could jump higher. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that was a thing. Who would go out of their way to test that? Like, was it Epic Games? Were they testing that, or did somebody just bring it up? Like, them and their friends, they were just like, hey, let's try this, playing the game at 30 and 60. And then they just started jumping, and I'm like, hey, man, are you jumping higher than me? That's very strange. Very, very weird bug to find out. Next one, fix an issue that prevented weapon tracers from being visible after a certain distance. And fixed an auto sprint issue that would cause players to continue sprinting when they tried to stop. Oh, I've known many a games with that issue. And as I mentioned before, the majority of this list is bug fixes, so it's not going to be very long. Well, it's already long with my giant explanation of what Teams of 20 is, but yeah, anyway. So on to weapons and items. They fixed issues with the hunting rifle's accuracy. Fixed it. I mean, it's really hard to use that thing. Fixed additional weapon loading issues that prevented players from being able to see or use their weapon while the world was loading. And fixed an issue where firing a weapon could cancel the equip animation. Interesting. Again, a bug I've never experienced. On to world bug fixes. Told you it was going to be quick. Fixed the kitchen cabinets that were placed outside of some houses. They are now back inside where they belong. I never saw that. I swear, if I saw that, I'd be like, what is going on here? But yeah, I've never seen that. That's really funny. And increase the HP value of weeping willow trees so it is more representative of the amount of resources it gives. Cool. I wonder if that's the really big ones. And you know, this is another thing too. I swear, I'm going to have to look at the footage again, but I swear there was one time I beat down a tree and it gave me a scar. I don't know how. It gave me an assault rifle, and a purple one at that. I'm like, do trees give weapons now? Maybe somebody dropped it as soon as I busted the tree, but it's just like, why would you drop a purple scar? You don't even know what I have. But I swear it came from the tree. I don't know what happened. It was the weirdest thing while I was playing. UI bug fixes. Fixed an issue that sometimes caused an inventory slot to be unusable. I haven't played Battle Royale enough to experience that. Fixed an issue where players would have to press the leave match button twice when exiting an in-progress match. Fixed an issue where squad members could be missing from the top panel when opening the in-game menu. And fixed a crash that would occur when closing the game after opening the settings menu. Okay, that's definitely not good. Fixed an issue where the squad members could be missing from the top panel. That I've experienced actually in the co-op. I don't know if they fixed that with this update. I mean, I was just playing it last night before the update, and every time somebody joined in the middle of a match, their name wouldn't show up. Like, they're there, and I can see them, but their names aren't showing up. It's just their health bars. So I don't know who's who. All right, art and animation. Not just bug fixes in this one. The pump shotgun's pump animation will now play when held up instead of at rest. Distant buildings and objects now connect to the terrain more smoothly. And improved terrain rendering and cloud shadows. Possibly for optimization reasons. Bug fixes. We've got fixed an issue where glider trails were not visible to other players. Why does that matter? I mean, is it because if it's like the Chinese New Year dragon, you know, and it's got a nice little rainbow trail or whatever the heck it is, yeah, okay, it'd be fun to see that. But like, other than that, like, why does it matter? Why would you want somebody to see your trails? Then they're gonna follow you. And fix an issue that prevented destruction effects from playing while on low effect settings. Man, they have a lot of problems with the lower graphic effects. All right, moving on to audio. Added squeaks to wood, stone, metal, and default hits for the pick squeak harvesting tool. So if you have that squeaking harvesting tool, I think it looks like a hammer, doesn't it? You can now actually have the squeak actually works, apparently. Improve the default glider and umbrella open sound so that it syncs up with the animation. Added an audio cue that will play when squad members jump from the battle bus. Oh, I've heard that. I was like, what is that noise? And then I started noticing people dropping out of the bus, and I'm like, what? Did they just add that? Because I've never heard that before. And yes, they just added it. It's a really loud noise, too. I'm not saying it's ear-shatteringly loud, but it's just like, it's very obvious. And improve the epic/legendary assault rifle close-range fire sound. On to bug fixes for audio. Fixed a crash that would occur when unplugging headphones. That's weird. Well, how does it know what kind of headphones? It could be the auxiliary cable, or auxiliary jack. 3.5mm. You know, it doesn't always have to be USB. Strange. I think they should be more specific with what kind of headphones, because I can't see the 3.5mm jack causing something like that, because it's analog. It's not digital, so you plug it in and it's just, there's no drivers needed. It just plays. So if they're referencing USB headphones, I think they need to specify that. And fix an issue that would cause tactically important sounds to occasionally be canceled. Tactically important sounds. What does that mean? What sounds? What's tactically important? What does that mean? Like, sounds of you being tactical? Like, when you're crouching, you're just like... Dun, 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 dun. What is a tactically important sound? Tell me. I don't know what that is. Last but not least, on to performance. Fixed hitching when a certain player outfits were loaded in the middle of a match. Again, with the outfits. They had this problem a couple of patches ago. that they had to fix, where people would what was it, stutter, or the game would hitch when somebody came across somebody with a specific costume. Now we've got outfits not loading. The hell is that? And lastly, fixed crashes that could occur in rare cases when using the NVIDIA Shadowplay Highlights feature. Never used that feature, but I do turn the replay feature on when I'm not streaming or using OBS or whatever. So never came across that, but yeah, you definitely don't want features from NVIDIA interrupting your gameplay. That's just not good. But I think, again, that's on Epic Games to fix that, not NVIDIA. NVIDIA just puts out the drivers and all the features. But that's it. Those are the patch notes. I know my beginning was a bit lengthy, but this new game mode is a lot of fun. It feels like more of a battle when you've got a bunch of teammates instead of just 3 teammates. And it feels like... I don't know, it's just more fun for me. It may not be your cup of tea. You may enjoy going in solo. I tend to do solo a lot, but I am happy that they're coming out with these game modes, and I really, really hope that maybe people like this enough the way they make it a permanent game mode, because I'd see myself playing Battle Royale way more often if this game mode was a permanent thing. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and please join me again in the next video where we will cover the Save the World update for version 3.2. And if you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button. Dislike it if you think this is a stupid idea. Get subscribed if you haven't already. Don't forget to check the links in the video description below, especially the one for Extra Life. I'm trying to raise $200 for my local children's hospital. So, yeah, $200, not a lot of money. If you can't give, don't worry. We got all year to do it. Okay, so don't worry. Calm yourself. We're gonna get that money. We've only missed 1 year, and I said never again. And so far, so good. But if you can give, don't hesitate to donate. Until next time, guys, I'm Adam Wolf. This is Fortnite Battle Royale, and I will see you guys in the next one.